Alright, let's dive into something that's got the Android community buzzing. Google's latest Canary build, 2608, just dropped, and it's bringing a feature that's been long overdue: customizable quick settings. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Finally," let me just say, this is a big deal, especially for Pixel users. But here's the thing, it's not just about rearranging icons. It's about Google finally catching up to something other OEMs have had for years. And that, my friends, is what makes this really interesting. First off, let's talk about what's actually new here. If you're running a Pixel device, from the 6a all the way up to the 10 Pro Fold, you can now tap the pencil icon in Quick Settings and head to the Layout tab. From there, you can reorder the brightness bar, tiles, and media player. 6 combinations in total. Sounds simple, right? But personally, I think this is Google's way of saying, "We hear you." Users have been begging for more customization, and this feels like a direct response to that feedback. Now, what's fascinating to me is how this feature isn't exactly groundbreaking. OEMs like Samsung and OnePlus have had customizable quick settings for ages. So why does this feel like a big deal? In my opinion, it's because Pixel users have always been stuck with Google's one-size-fits-all approach. And while that works for some, it's left a lot of us wanting more. This update feels like Google acknowledging that not everyone uses their phone the same way. It's a small step, but it suggests a bigger shift toward user-centric design. But let's not forget the elephant in the room. This build is also the last hurrah for the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro. If you're on one of those devices, you'll need to transition to stable builds, which means a data wipe. Ouch! It's a reminder that even as we celebrate new features, the Android lifecycle can be brutal. One thing that immediately stands out is how quickly devices get left behind, even flagships. It raises a deeper question: how long should we expect our phones to stay relevant? Another detail I find fascinating is the return of App Lock. It's tucked away in Settings and Privacy App Lock, but it's there. What this really suggests is that Google is doubling down on privacy features, which is a trend we've seen across the industry. But here's the kicker: why did it disappear in the first place? It's a small feature, but its absence was noticeable. Its return feels like Google backpedaling, or maybe just listening to user complaints. Either way, it's a win for privacy-conscious users. If you take a step back and think about it, this Canary build is a mixed bag. On one hand, you've got long-requested features finally making an appearance. On the other, you've got devices being phased out. What many people don't realize is that Canary builds are a double-edged sword. They're experimental, unstable, and not for the faint of heart. But they're also where Google tests the waters for future updates. So while this build might not be for everyone, it's a glimpse into what's coming next. Personally, I think the customizable quick settings is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a sign that Google is starting to prioritize user feedback, something they've been criticized for in the past. But here's the bigger question: will this level of customization extend to other parts of the OS? If it does, we could be looking at a new era for Pixel devices. One where users have more control over their experience. So, what do you think? Is this update a game changer, or just a long overdue catch-up? Let me know in the comments. And if you're running the Canary build, how's it treating you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Because at the end of the day, these updates aren't just about features, they're about how we interact with our devices. And that's something worth talking about.